Welcome to Critical Perspectives, where we examine popular trends and industries with a discerning eye. I'm Zainab, and today we're diving into the world of self-help.
And I'm Ethan. The self-help industry is a multi-billion-dollar behemoth that's taken over bookstores, filled conference rooms, and even created media celebrities. But despite its popularity, it's not without its critics.
That's right, Ethan. Today, we'll be exploring 5 major problems with the self-help industry. Let's start with the first issue, the lack of credibility and peer review.
Absolutely. Unlike academic fields, the self-help industry is largely market-driven rather than peer-reviewed. This means that anyone can publish a self-help book or program without necessarily having the credentials or evidence to back up their claims.
This leads to our second problem, the burden on the consumer. With such a vast array of self-help materials available, it falls on the reader to sift through and determine what's credible and what's not. And that's not always an easy task.
You're right, Zainab. It can be challenging for consumers to distinguish between legitimate advice and what some might call snake oil. This brings us to our third problem, the industry's tendency to attract vulnerable individuals.
Exactly. The self-help industry often targets 2 types of people. Those who feel something is fundamentally wrong with them and are willing to try anything to fix it. And those who think they're generally good but want to become great.
Interestingly, research suggests that the latter group, let's call them the okay to great people, often see more success with self-help materials. They tend to have a foundation of self-acceptance that allows them to implement positive changes effectively.
On the flip side, those who feel fundamentally flawed, the bad to the okay group, often struggle to benefit from self-help. Their worldview can interpret the advice in ways that reinforce their feelings of inadequacy rather than helping them improve.
This leads us to our fourth problem, the industry's inability to address deep-seated issues. Many self-help materials focus on surface-level problems without tackling the root causes, such as anxiety, neuroticism, or feelings of shame.
That's a crucial point, Ethan. For instance, someone might read countless books on dating advice without addressing their underlying social anxiety. The act of reading becomes a form of avoidance rather than genuine improvement.
Absolutely. And this brings us to our fifth and final problem, the profit motive in the self-help industry. While profit isn't inherently bad, it can create perverse incentives.
Right. The focus shifts from creating real, lasting change to creating the perception of change. This can lead to an emphasis on quick fixes, feel-good platitudes, and temporary emotional highs rather than sustainable personal growth.
It's worth noting that these problems don't mean all self-help is useless. Many people have found value in self-help books and programs. The key is to approach them with a critical eye and realistic expectations.
Absolutely, Ethan. It's about being an informed consumer. Look for self-help materials backed by research. Be wary of grandiose promises, and remember that sustainable personal growth often requires professional help, especially for deep-seated issues.
Great point, Zainab. To recap, the 5 major problems we've discussed are lack of credibility and peer review, burden on the consumer to determine what's legitimate, attraction of vulnerable individuals, inability to address deep-seated issues, and potentially problematic profit motives.
Thanks for that summary, Ethan. We hope this discussion has provided our listeners with a more nuanced understanding of the self-help industry. Remember, while self-improvement is a worthy goal, it's important to approach it with critical thinking and self-compassion.
Absolutely. And that wraps up today's episode of Critical Perspectives. Thanks for listening, everyone. Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, and keep growing. But do it wisely.
Goodbye and take care.